There's a reason I want to talk about overcoming depression at 50, especially for men. Especially for men. I have been working with quite a number of men whom, when they get into their 40s and 50s, life is no longer what it used to be for them. And many men in their 50s, their 40s and 50s, actually get into what some people have described as male opus. In the description of this live video, I have suggested 10 reasons why men in their 50s easily slip into depression. But the good news is that depression is something you can reverse, it's something that you can come out from. It is also good news that um, there are ways to do that, and I'm going to be discussing some of this with you this evening. You really can't afford to be depressed at 50. And then I've also discovered with the men that I have worked with that many times it is not so much the external situations, the things happening around you in your relationship, in your marriage, the things happening around you in your finances or in your office if you work. But it's the way that you process them. That is what makes people get depressed. The way you process the things happening around you, the way you process life, the way you process meaning, the way you process aging, all those things could actually create depression. So I'm going to tell you what to do if you're depressed, if you find your 40s and 50s and you're battling with depression. You see, midlife crisis can be very hard on men, but it's not a conversation um, that is as strong as it should be. See, but I'm bringing this to the fore because there are so many men quietly suffering and battling depression. And because of the way the society have stereotyped men, the way they look at men, um, if you're a man, you're not supposed to cry. If you're a man, you're not supposed to admit that you're going through some mental health challenges. And so when you're a man and you're having mental health challenges, discussing it is often seen by the society as a sign of weakness. But that's not really what it is. It's not a sign of weakness. And I think that's part of it because of the societal expectations and then the stigma. That's what um, is making midlife crisis very hard for many men. And then the depression in men over 50 manifests in different ways. And perhaps the best way I can contextualize it for you is the fact that there are three main kinds of fitnesses. Okay. There are three kinds of fitness that everyone should pursue. So the first one is physical fitness. We need physical fitness. Whether you're 15 or you're 51, physical fitness is critical. The second one is your spiritual fitness. And that is to what degree you are connected to something bigger than yourself, than something bigger than just money, something bigger, something that drives you, that makes you wake up every morning because it is so worthy of you. And then the third kind of fitness is financial fitness. So many times, men battling depression find that there is very little balance or misalignment in these three types of fitness. And so, if we examine the root causes, which I'm going to share with you, it will help you in knowing how to deal with it. Because if you know where the bullet is coming from, if you know the source of your depression, then it gives you power, because now you are able to overcome it. And so, in my work, one of the things I have discovered creates this crisis for men in their midlife, in their 40s and 50s, and then beyond, are shifting priorities. Because now your children, your daughters and sons have left home. Okay, that is one. They probably have left school. Then there's also the possibility that you are changing career, or that you're about to retire after a very long career. So this can create challenges. And of course, the major cause, the second one, would be midlife crisis. All right, because at this time you are questioning, what is the meaning of life? What does life mean? Okay. At this time you're questioning all the achievements that you've made. Were these things really worth it? Did I really prioritize right? Did I really spend my life working on the things that mattered to most to me as a younger person? The third root cause for depression in men over 50 is health. Okay, there are health concerns. It's at this time that many men are having all kinds of issues, prostate issues, high blood pressure, mobility issues, and then overweight issues and things like that, diabetes and all that. So it limits it imposes physical limitations on the men. The things you could do before you couldn't do. Waking up becomes even a task. Lifting things, helping your wife, or the children in the house to do something physical, going under the car to check it out, the limitations are there. So, health concerns. And then, of course, I think for many men, the major one is financial stress. I've met many men in their 50s, who have accumulated debts that have been running for years, with very nasty interest rates. And then they look around them and they look at what's going on in the economy, and they don't see the proverbial light at the end of a tunnel, because income is not coming in. There is inflation. There are still bills to pay. The interest is mounting on the loan. And then perhaps the debt collector agencies are after you. I've been there. So I know that this can be really, really very, very traumatic, very, very stressful for men in their 50s. The fifth root cause for those who are still in their career, in their 40s, in their 50s, is feeling stuck in a career. Okay, feeling stuck in a career that you probably don't like. You are in the job not because you really want to be there, but because it's paying the bills. Or you're just stuck because you don't have the skills nor the time to upskill to be able to find something else. Or it could be that you're in the job and there's just so much office politics, a web of office politics, blackmail, all kinds of things, toxic relationships. And so when you go through that at work and then you come back home, it can be very depressing. The sixth reason, the sixth root cause of depression for many men over 50 involve marital problems. So many people at this time in their lives are divorced, or they are into their second or third relationship. I've met men, who are into their third marriages, and it can be very difficult. It can be very, very difficult for many men in that stage. So sometimes marital challenges present all kinds of things. Paternity disputes. Um, One of the saddest ones was a story that broke the internet sometime last month about a US judge who had been married for over 50 years. I believe it was 51 years. He had two sons, and then only to discover something happened. They didn't really intentionally go to do the paternity thing, but something happened that required it. And only for this man to discover that the children he had taken care of for over 40 years, that he called his sons, none of them belonged to him. This can be very, very devastating, for men, because you find yourself in your 50s and 60s, and then the children you've loved and held and trained all your life, and you've been kind of emotionally and spiritually attached to, you just wake up one day and discover that these were other men's children. And it's not really that you would have minded, that you minded raising those children, but the feeling of betrayal for the woman that you've lived with for 30, 40 something years, to discover that at the early part of your marriage that she was unfaithful to you. That could be very devastating for many men. There are also cases of strained relationships, with children, like, people who have had issues with their fathers, and then they said, we'll never talk to you again, would never call you or reach out. And so the man is aging, and then he feels like he's dying alone because his children have abandoned him. There's also the loss of loved ones. Okay. I met someone who buried 3 relations in 1 year: his father, his mother, and I think a sibling. It was extremely devastating. This man is in his 50s. Another root cause for depression for many men is weak spiritual foundation. All right. So if you don't have a very strong spiritual foundation, and then when I'm talking about spiritual foundation, I'm not talking about really being religious, but indeed, having a very firm conviction in the existence of God. Because somebody put all these things together, no matter what, the liberals say or the teacher in the university. And knowing God on a personal level, and then knowing that he loves you, he truly, truly loves you and has a plan and purpose for you. If you don't connect to that, then it would appear that everything happening around in your life is random. And then if you think that the things going on in your life are random and just uncontrolled, then it could make you fearful. It can make you live with a lot of anxiety. And so weak spiritual foundation, lack of purpose can create depression. And finally, the 10th one is loneliness. Many times, for men who married early or who started to have children early, by their 50s, their children have already grown up, possibly gotten married. And then in the African culture, often when the children have babies, it's their mother who goes to do what in Nigeria they call omugwo. So goes visiting the children. It's a case in which a couple has children in Canada, in the UK, in Australia. So often the woman travels to all these places for months within the year, and the man is home alone, just reading newspapers. So that can create that. Okay, so now in the final part of how do you deal with it, I think that the very first step is to prioritize your health. Because if you're physically fit and you have mobility in your joint and you have flexibility, you have endurance, you have strength, muscular strength. Physical fitness comes with a lot of good things. It comes with a lot of good things. And physical fitness, from my own experience, is a kind of cornerstone habit. So there are habits you call cornerstone habits, which means that these habits bring along with it a lot of other benefits. So if you exercise, if you are very intentional about nutrition, if you are very intentional about not taking in substances in your body, um, I've never taken soda for about 20 years right now, or any processed drink, for instance. So if you are very intentional about that, it brings a lot of other things. It can actually impact your spiritual fitness and your financial fitness. Okay? Strengthen your family relationships. I know that some men have had some really, really bad family relationship with their wife and children, because in your younger years, you were probably too over invested in your career and you didn't spend time with the children. You paid their school fees all right, you helped them, you did quite some bit, but um, now they are all estranged. So you can still go back and um, take back your family relationships, because if there is love, if there is understanding and strong connection in the family, you will not be depressed. You will not be depressed. Okay, so strengthen family relationships. The other thing is to reconnect with your purpose. Okay, reconnect with your passion, with your hobbies, because if you lose passion and you lose hope, you'll be depressed. And another suggestion I find very helpful is to connect with a very empowering and supportive network. So don't spend all your days alone in the house. Go out there, join a social club, join a sports club, join the community, be out there in the sunshine, join some interest group. People who climb mountains. And I've seen men, in their midlife, who have joined motorcycle clubs. These guys are amazing. They're just amazing. They support each other. They just love each other. There's just that brotherhood. So you can, and explore opportunities for learning and growth. Pick up interest in learning new languages, learning a musical instrument, learning something, okay, learning a particular skill. Explore your interest, because opportunities could come there. And I would like to use this opportunity to encourage you to join our financial fitness challenge. Okay, it comes up several times in the year. In the financial fitness challenge, you have the opportunity to join a very empowering and understanding network. And then we not only discuss financial fitness, we also discuss spiritual fitness and physical fitness. So you'll find the details in the description, and I'll be able to give you some more information. All right, so let me know what you think. And then if you'd like us to explore this subject a little bit, please type your question in the comment section, and I'll be able to take it on from there. All right, so but meantime, whatever happens, keep showing up, because you never know what's coming your way next. And then I'll see you during another live.